Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat, and today I'm going to do a bit of a Toonami news update here on this September 22nd, 2021. Now, first thing I want to do is kind of quickly go over my quick review for this past Fena Pirate Princess episode. That was episode 7 here in season 1. So, some of the things I like, some things I don't like. I like the general fight scene at the end where the whole gang came to save Fena and Yukimaru. And I also like the little bit further of intrigue they added between the whole relationship between the British and at least the pirates or Fana's family in general, where it was shown that the people that invaded the ship that led to Fana's father's death and Yukimaru having to desperately save Fana were the British. And I think I made out one or two of the older female pirates as well, so they were involved in it. I liked that intrigue, and I also like the little bit of intrigue where like Abel was obsessed with Fana's mother and basically him saying why did she take her and not him, which I think is setting up the fact that he's actually her brother. I'm gonna say that right now, so that when this ends up being like the twist at the end of season 1, you will go back to this video and I will tell you I told you so. But again, some of the things I didn't like about this episode. Okay, there's one thing that really bugged me. Like right now, you had Fana, like the moment after Yukimaru got shot in the back, like he was at a traffic stop. You had that moment, and like he was on the ground, and then Fana, like right there, like literally one of Yukimaru's swords was like down, like the sword was into the boards. So right, like remember the episode? I think this was like the second or third episode. Like half of it was spent literally with the whole gang teaching Fana how to use a weapon, and she wasn't really taking that well to it. But like at the same time, I felt like this would develop into something, and I compared it favorably to like The Promised Neverland season 2, where he had Sanju teach Emma how to use a bow and arrow, and how he said, "Well, you're gonna probably need to do this type of thing to protect your family," but have that not actually ever become relevant. And I thought, okay, Fana Pirate Princess, I have more faith in the show at this point. This is gonna become relevant. At one point, Fana's gonna do something and save Yukimaru's life or something. And you have this perfect moment here where it's like the sword is in the boards. She's distraught. Yukimaru can't defend herself, and all these British soldiers were coming towards her. She could have picked up the sword, and although she probably would have ultimately been defeated and needed her friends to save her, she could have at least maybe taken out one person, or at least led to a good sword battle with one person to buy just enough time for the rest of the gang to get there. But no, like she's just crying over Yukimaru, and like the British guys were just like really slow to get to her because of the situation. And all of a sudden, you have you see this arrow go right through one of the guys' necks, and because to show that Shitan was the first one to fire the first shot. And then you see but I still like how the whole gang use their weapons. Like you had the twins use their sword fighting skills. You had Karine use her gun. Of course, Shitan his bow and arrow, and I forgot the other guy, the very big guy. I think he used his fists. I really liked that moment, but again, I felt like you had this really good moment to start developing Fana's character. Because one of my criticisms, which to this point still hold, is that Fana really she doesn't look like she's going to ever build as a character. I can draw a very straight line between her now and her at the start of the series because she has not changed a single bit. And you could say, well, it's only 4 or 5 episodes, but at this point, you start seeing little changes. Like at this point, she does something helpful. And I felt like that was a great moment they just completely whiffed on right there. But ultimately, this was still a good episode, especially at the intrigue, especially with how the Goblin Knights came and saved the day at the end. I gave this episode still a 7 out of 10. Now on to Toonami's ratings from this past Saturday, September 18th, 2021. Let's start at the top of the block. At the top of the block, we have Fena Pirate Princess at a 0.14, My Hero Academia at a 0.13, Yashahime at a 0.11, The Food Wars at a 0.09, Black Clover at a 0.08, Naruto Shippuden at a 0.09, Dr. Stone at a 0.05, and Dragon Ball Super at a 0.04. I was disappointed once again with these ratings. These ratings were an improvement over last week, I'll give you that. But last week's video, I said I fully expected last week to be a complete aberration and thought ratings were probably going to go back to where they were, like say a 0.19 or 0.2 for Fana Pirate Princess. But we only got this little increase to 0.14, and that's not going to cut it. End of the day, we need Fana Pirate Princess to at least get a 0.18, I think, to be able to say that it was a ratings success. No, don't get me wrong. I think it's a slam dunk Fana gets a season 2. purely out of the fact that Toonami and Adult Swim at large needs content, with Family Guy now officially forever off the block as of coincidentally like an hour and a half before the start of Toonami. I think 10:30 was the last airing of the last ever episode of Family Guy on Adult Swim, which maybe fittingly enough was the episode where Stewie got himself pregnant with Brian's babies. But again, and they had this cute little bumper at the end where it's like the whole family's crying, waving. They had all these different Adult Swim characters waving, including Tom and Sarah, mind you. And it was like, I thought it was a pretty good moment, especially considering Family Guy actually got saved by Adult Swim. That's actually kind of another fun story for another day. Basically, cable ratings of a Family Guy on Adult Swim, along with increased DVD sales, driven by Family Guy being Adult Swim, was what convinced Fox to re-renew a Family Guy. Fun fact there. And it was just a nice like get justice moment right there, and I really like that. But again, it's gonna be interesting to see in the future the lead-in schedule to Toonami, how that's gonna change. Because for the last 10 or so weeks at least, I believe, the show immediately before Toonami has been Rick and Morty, which really hasn't helped that much, especially considering that I've noticed something amazing. Like, I haven't heard anyone actually talk about Rick and Morty season 5 anymore. Like, I remember season 3, season 4, people had their complaints with it, but talking about them. I haven't heard anyone after the season end say anything about the season, and it was just because people were just didn't really like it anymore. And even like diehard Rick and Morty fans, they're not really talking about the show as much anymore, which again is a very, very scary sign for Adult Swim, considering that is the network right now. That's a scary way to think of it. If you look at what shows get ratings in Adult Swim, like, yeah, you could talk to about like, oh, Fana getting like point twos. Yeah, but like Rick and Morty gets like a point six. That's just a whole nother realm of stuff right here. And it's just gonna be interesting to see what they go with, because again, Family Guy, who's been your syndication cash cow, is gone. Rick and Morty is becoming less relevant. The ratings are decreasing. They're still high for Adult Swim standards, but it's not as high as it used to be. And again, what's going to be the answer for what saves Toonami here? Because once again, we're facing ratings issues. And at this point, I'm still not ready to say, oh, it's Fana dropping down the rest of the block. But at the same time, if this keeps up for another week or two, I might have to consider that. My Hero Academia retains well from Fena Pirate Princess. Yashahime didn't retain as badly in previous weeks, but that's because it only had so much it could drop because of how low the ratings already were in front of it. Food Wars had a .09. It held from week to week, which is kind of bad because everything went up a little. Black Clover actually went up a tiny bit, but Naruto went up even more, and Naruto actually ends up building on Black Clover, which has been a pretty consistent theme when Black Clover precedes Naruto. But I mean, what do you say there? And you can talk about Dr. Stone and Dragon Ball Super getting ugly low ratings at .05 and .04, but again, only your mileage is only going to vary so much when you're talking about 3 o'clock, 3:30 at night. So again, it's just another thing to it right there. And again, it'll be interesting to see, because I think this the ticking time bomb of Family Guy being off Adult Swim has exploded, and now we're talking about a brand new era of Adult Swim, and directly a brand new era of Toonami we have to talk about. So that's going to be the key. What happens before Toonami might be just as important as the schedule of Toonami itself. And again, and I've looked at some of like the next few, like this week and this weekend, like just the general Adult Swim schedule, and it looks weak. Especially considering now they also have to have a capped number of episodes of Bob's Burgers too, and I think Bob's Burgers and American Dad, they have caps on where they could only air so many episodes per week. So yeah, that's a scary new era rendering here. Adult Swim's gonna have to get really creative what shows they put on the block. What do you guys think will help into Toonami? What shows do you want to see on Toonami? Leave your comments, leave your opinions down below. Especially, did you dislike this past episode of Fana Pirate Princess? I am the Super Orange Cat, and that is all.